Café Anyway. That's right.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2693. 2693. I'm Mike Matthews here at Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last place on earth. The last podcast was called Customers. Why? Because it was some kind of customer appreciation day, and I thought it would be a good, interesting one-word name. If you haven't seen, that's sort of the same pattern we follow. Every podcast has a one-word title.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I have no idea what the one-word title will be today, but the podcast previous to the last one
Mike's
was called Edge.
Daily
Forgot why
Podcast.
I called it Edge.
Yeah!
Oh, because it was something like not living on the edge day or something to that effect, where you don't take drugs or do alcohol or try and live straight edge. That's the kind of idea that they were going for. And I got that idea from the National Day Calendar. That's right. And if you're listening to this on the 20th, it's National Chicken and Waffles Day. Not the healthiest meal, but every once in a while, everybody craves it, or some form of it. It's also National Get Smart About Credit Day. Here's a couple things to remember about credit cards. Don't.
The Cutting Corners Corner.
The Cutting Corners Corner. Now, debit cards have their own built-in issues. For example, if someone gets your debit card and figures out the password and all the verifications and everything and takes money out, that money's pretty much gone. I guess some banks will cover it for you, but credit cards, at least you have a buffer to it. But I just try and avoid using a debit card at all, if at all possible. But
and here's today's podcast picture.
A lot of places that would charge you for using a credit card will not charge you for using a debit card. The podcast picture today is of a credit card, and it's mine, and it's got the numbers, and that would be a bad idea. Don't do that. That's another lesson we shall learn about credit cards and all that, and credit day, that is what today is. The podcast picture, I think we'll do something. Last one we did, was it Benita? That's right. So why don't we go, maybe the nice sunset from this evening in Fremont. Yes. Podcastro Valley Mont. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh, the late great Basil the Boxer. He had been to Fremont did I do this one of the moon? Oh, this is a good one. Maybe it'll be the moon in Podcastro Valley. One of the two. Oh, or the scary skeletons up the street in Podcastro Valley. One of these fantastic pictures I will pick. Find out which one I picked at mikesdailypodcast.com, because I pay for that website, and it'd be nice if somebody went to it. Oh, let's see. What else do we have? A National Youth Confidence Day, because the youth, it's tough. Actually, I'm very suspicious of any youth with too much confidence. Why do you think it's International Chef's Day as well. Why are you so confident, you little snot-nosed? No, we got to believe in the children are our future and let them lead the way.
Magnification.
It's all about positive role models, is what this day is about. National Youth Confidence Day celebrates the energy, spirit, and potential of young people. Well, I agree with that. The day is an acknowledgement of all they will accomplish, respectively. Guidance, leadership, and mentors will help light the path. In addition, today's youth will navigate the obstacles that will inevitably lay before them, according to nationaldaycalendar.com. So, welcome a young person into your life and accept their mistakes. Their mistakes will be similar to the ones you've made yourself and offer encouragement that these mistakes are merely lessons, it says here. Share stories from youth who inspire you. Hearing about youth inspires us to feel more confident. Share a story about a young person who inspires you, from overcoming an obstacle or achieving academic success to helping someone in the community. It's all about being uniquely them. I don't know if I did any of that as a kid.
The Daily Haley. The Almost Daily Haley.
I would do my little creative things. I was into drawing cartoons back then. It's like everybody knew how to draw, but I wanted to make little characters and have them tell stories and things. But that's still not the... I guess I'm being too hard on... Being too with young Mike. Show a young person in your life you care. Provide them with the tools to reach their potential. Most importantly, offer them the knowledge, skills, and know-how to build their confidence.
The Marco Minute. The Marco Minute.
Let's say, let's try to help. Yeah, because there are so many neglected and forgotten about kids. And I was kind of one of those. And when somebody remembered me and somebody gave me any kind of support or encouragement, I thrived off that. I really took that. It wasn't just, yeah, I know. It was something like, it was something I didn't know, something I needed. It was something that helped me excel. Speaking of teens, you've heard that Apple's iPhone has dominated the smartphone market for teenagers for about a decade. At 87%, the share of teens who own iPhones is at near record levels. Teen ownership of iPhones has never been below 80%. This has been since 2018. And it's been above 60% since 2014 as we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast. Somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway.
The share of people who plan to upgrade to an iPhone 15 this fall or winter was at 23%. The percentage of teens who plan to buy AirPods remained at record highs. The iPhone is Apple's most important product, accounting for 48% of sales.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
Maui has reopened after the wildfire disaster. I spoke with somebody. So I know two people. One was there just before the fires. Another was there as the fires were happening, but were not in the exact area where the wildfires were happening. But they could smell the smoke. They knew that the winds were crazy. They saw that. A Hawaiian state order discouraging travel to West Maui was lifted. This was earlier this month. 2 months after wildfires raged through the area, killing at least 98 people. Schools are still closed and thousands living in temporary housing. Occupancy rates were at about 12% and expected to slowly climb to 32% by next month. About 40% of Maui's GDP is tied to tourism. I'm surprised that's not higher. The first half of the year, $3.5 billion was spent by tourists.
Whoa! Mike's Matthewsman Park.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
Magnification.
17,000 people signed a petition to delay the reopening date. After the world's hottest summer on record, vacation favorites like Greece and Italy could see visitor drop-offs of up to 10%. Colder regions like Bulgaria and Greenland are anticipating more tourists in the years ahead because of climate change. The Eras Tour Taylor Swift concert films are a sellout. Now, you might start seeing here in California, if you are a Californian. Hello, Californian. California may be building solar panels alongside the highways. This is to power homes. In 2008, Oregon became the first state to develop a solar highway project which has now nearly 600 solar panels.
It's me, Do-Re-Mi the Clown.
And did you hear, and I know this only because of all of the travel vloggers that I watch, who every single travel vlogger I know is obsessed with either Orlando or Anaheim, the Disney parks there. And it's so funny because they'll be like, first off, they move to those, either to Anaheim or Orlando, so they can be close to the Disney property. I hate saying the Disney property, but that's what it is. It's the property. That's how they refer to it. And they all at some point go, I'm going too much to Disney World or Disneyland. I'm going to, Mike called it Disney World. It's not technically Disney World, Mike. It's the Magic Kingdom. Whatevs. So they get, at some point they all say, I'm going too much. It's costing me too much. I'm going to stop going. But then they inevitably fall off the wagon and they start going back.
Ginormous.
Raising prices, Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Yes, the annual price passes jumped by nearly 10%. The Incredipass, yes, because of the Incredibles, because Disney made the Incredibles, or was it? Technically, Mike Matthews, it was Pixar that made that particular show.
Mike's out of left field recordings.
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
$449. The highest daily pass increased to $194, nearly 9%. That's a 9% increase from earlier prices, but people still pay it because, oh my gosh, it's the Magic Kingdom. Oh my gosh, it's the happiest place on earth. Oh my gosh, it's like, you guys, please, at some point, grow up. That's the thing. A lot of these vloggers, I don't know what you call them, YouTubers. That's what they are. YouTube travel YouTubers. And a tuber is something you pull out of the ground and eat. Or you worship, depending on what part of the world you live in.
The word of dog. A fine article.
You silly, great, fat article.
And that was one of the things I learned, that there are some tribes that believe that the tubers come out of the ground and we love you, Mike. They do things at night to help them. The tribe. Something like that. Gwen Stefani got her Hollywood Walk on the Hall of Fame. How cool is that? And she is from Anaheim. Sang with No Doubt. You younger people don't remember that band. You just know her from The Voice. And she's married to Blake Shelton, and I interviewed Blake Shelton years ago when he first came out, and that is on mikesdailypodcast.com. If you go to the home section, go to interviews A through F, because I alphabetized by the first name.
Magnification.
And you can listen to that crazy interview I did with Blake Shelton like 20 years ago. But outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, look who's here. Oh my God, it's Chely Shoehart, show supervisor. Wow, that's really fascinating. All that stuff you were talking about. What the heck is No Doubt, Mike Matthews? All right, once upon a time, ska got really big. Well, first off, alternative rock stations with grunge. That got big, that got popular. There were a lot of stations. A few of them remain, but in that mix, the program directors for these alternative rock stations would play No Doubt. And that's partly because of KROQ in Pasadena, California. They were big champions of No Doubt. No Doubt did a lot of things for them, and so they promoted them. And then the video got huge. Any video they put out, because Gwen Stefani was so photographic, so they got huge. Mike Matthews, I wasn't listening to a thing you said when you got all historical, Mike Matthews. And what's my name? Mike Matthews. Uh-huh. Well, that's how it is. Can I have a snow globe? Uh-huh. Have a happy fall, snow globe, Mike Matthews. Oh, yeah, instead of snow, it's little leaves.
The Fascinating Material Project.
I guess parts of California have it, but not here in the Bay Area. It's better than Los Angeles. You have some leaves turning colors here, but I remember growing up in Southern California, you didn't see it at all. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, did you finish listening to that podcast about Russell Brand? Yes. And I found out from this, it's a podcast called the QAnon Anonymous Podcast.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
I might have said that name wrong, but what that podcast was talking about was how the more conspiratorial that Russell Brand got on his YouTube channel and the more conspiracy theories he brought up. Woo! And then talking about vaccine hesitancy and all of that, he got more popular. Like his subscribers went into the millions. So ever since he's been doing that, he's become popular. So the question was, is it an act? Is he doing it just to get the listeners, the viewers? But that seems to be what you need to do if you want to get a bunch of subscribers on YouTube or podcasting for that matter. You got to go the Joe Rogan route, where you talk about conspiracy theories and how what you see in the media is all lies and all that stuff. Kombucha! Personally, because I've worked for this company for almost 8 years. It has been over 8 years. And early on, there was a guy I used to produce his show, and he's a pastor, and he talks about religious stuff, talks about stuff about Christianity and the Bible. Well, somewhere around 2020, as people like, what's his name, Alex Jones got popular, and a lot of those conspiracy theorists type broadcasters got popular, he started going down that rabbit hole. Now, that's all he talks about on his show. And he gets calls. He gets a lot of calls. And they'll call up the radio station if the podcast hasn't been posted to the website. They're like, where is it? What? So he started getting more followers when he went down that rabbit hole. But, the other thing they brought up in this podcast was that those viewers, those listeners, those quote unquote fans, that's exactly it. They are rabbit ears with your fingers, quotation marks, air quotes. They will disappear and leave you so abruptly. It behooves you to tell the truth. And to tell you the truth, I'm just about done with this podcast for today. But if you would like to call in about anything we discussed, that's the other thing Russell Brand does. He'll say something that's very outlandish, but not stand by it. And then he says, leave your thoughts in the comments, or comment below. Comment below. That's all he says is comment below. And click here to subscribe. That's the other thing I hate about what YouTubers say. Tubers. Those wonderful tubers. In lieu of that, why don't we all have some mashed potatoes, and because that's a type of tuber, and enjoy the rest of our evening. So if you'd like to call in and leave your comment below, here's the number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with more ways to reach me, here's a frame. You read my mind, girl, I wanna shake you down. I can give you all the loving you need. Gregory Abbott was cool. That song went all the way to heaven to number 1. Come on, girl, let's shock the show. I still don't know what he said there.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now
at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.